Hey Met fans, Brian here with Mets Mayhem, and we're going to recap the first series of the 2025 season. The New York Mets faced the Houston Astros, and going into this game, the Mets had the best record in the majors at 41-22 on opening day. Getting the start on opening day is newly acquired Clay Holmes, making his first start since his debut season and first start for the New York Mets. Going against Clay Holmes is Framber Valdez, the tough lefty from the Houston Astros. Now, this game started off with Francisco Lindor hitting a scorching line drive. Unfortunately, Jeremy Pena at shortstop jumped up in the air and snagged it for the first out. You know, what can you do? Sometimes you hit the ball soft and get a base hit. Sometimes you scorch it and you make an out. I'd rather Lindor hit a line drive there, start his season off hitting the ball solidly. Just didn't result in anything positive for us. Juan Soto followed, though, with a hard ground ball for his first base hit and his first official at bat as a Met. Following Soto, Pete Alonso worked out a walk. And where this is key to me is that he laid off at 3 pitches out of the strike zone that he normally may have swung at. Now, in the spring, he seems to have improved his plate discipline, and I'm hoping that this translates into the regular season, because if Pete is able to lay off of these pitches down and away, typically, down in the zone where he doesn't really do much damage, and force the pitchers to come to him more and throw the ball in the strike zone or closer to the strike zone, he's going to do more damage when he puts the ball on the bat. So hopefully the improved plate discipline is a trend that's going to continue for Pete, and we're going to see positive results because of it. Now, unfortunately, the Mets didn't score in the first inning. We didn't score in the second inning either, although Starling Marte was hit to lead off the inning. However, in the bottom of the second, Clay Holmes did hit Jeremy Pena with 1 out, and rookie sensation Cam Smith grounded the ball to the right side for a base hit. And after that, a walk to Brendan Rodgers loaded the bases. The Mets couldn't get out of this. With a ground ball was hit to Lindor. It was a slow chopping ball. He had to come in, throw sidearm to second base. Acuna got the force at second, but he wasn't able to turn the ball for the double play. It was hit too slow. The batter wasn't that slow-footed. So unfortunately, the ball was hit. Weak contact. Positive result for the Astros. They score a run. The Mets did get out of it with only giving up 1 run, but, what can you do? So the Mets didn't do much in the top of the third. Soto did get on base again with a walk. However, in the bottom of the third, Holmes walked Isaiah Paredes to start the inning. He did strike out Jordan Alvarez. However, newly signed Christian Walker singled to left, and Yainer Diaz followed with a hard ground ball right up the middle, scoring Paredes. Holmes almost got out of it. He's known for getting a lot of ground balls, and he got another ground ball again to Francisco Lindor. This time, Luis Angel Acuna had plenty of time to turn the double play, but for some reason he held on to the ball too long. The ball was wide right of Alonso. We didn't get the runner at first, and a run scored. We did get out of it after that, but the Astros got 2 runs that they shouldn't have had. And the Mets went pretty quietly the rest of the game. To the 8th inning, they loaded the bases with 2 quick outs. After 2 quick outs, Soto, Alonso, and Vientos all drew walks. However, Brandon Nimmo hit a sinking low line drive to center field, but Jake Myers was positioned properly. He came in. It was really out. It wasn't in danger of dropping. We went kind of weakly there. We did have our chance in the 9th inning against Astros closer Josh Hader. Starling Marte led off with a base hit. Tyrone Taylor followed off of his own. And Luis Angel Acuna drew a 12-pitch walk. So we had bases loaded with nobody out. Unfortunately, in the inning prior, we pinch ran for Luis Torrens. So we had Hayden Singer getting his first at-bat of the year with the bases loaded. Hader pretty much dominated him and struck him out on 4 pitches. So that was the first out of the inning. Now, with 1 out and the bases loaded, Francisco Lindor came to the plate, and he hit a fly ball to center field for a sac fly. This scored Marte. Tyrone Taylor tagged onto third base, and it brought up Juan Soto with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Juan Soto did what he typically does, and he worked the count, got to 3 balls, 2 strikes, and unfortunately, Josh Hader got the best of him on a very nasty, down and away breaking pitch. At the end of the game, the post-game conference, he just gave Hader all the credit. He said, listen, that's a great pitcher. He threw a nasty pitch. He got me. Pretty much what can you do? As great as Juan Soto is, he's not going to come through 100% of the time. If that's our expectations of him, we're going to be highly disappointed. I would still rather have Juan Soto up there in that situation any day of the week, to be honest with you. It just didn't happen today. Didn't happen on this game. So we lost the first game 3-1 to the Astros. So key takeaway for me for this game is Clay Holmes. He's making his first start since his debut season. His first start for the Mets, and it's an opening day start to begin with. This has to be jitters and nerves going on there. So I'm not really going to read too much into this start. However, I wasn't really happy with the fact that he walked 4. He also hit a batter. So you walk 4 batters, you hit a batter, you put 5 people on base for free. So 3 of those 5 batters that he put on base for free ended up coming around and scoring. Typically in baseball, when you give teams extra runners or extra outs, a good team's gonna make you pay for it. And we played a good team, and they made us pay for it. So looking forward in his next start, for me, what I'm gonna be looking for is him limiting the amount of base runners that he puts on base. If he does that, he'll have a good season. If he's gonna go back to walking 3-4 batters a game, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tough. I'm going to be honest with you. He does get a lot of ground balls, so he can get himself out of trouble, but you don't want to put free runners on base. So I'm sure he'll be sharper his next start. The jitters are out of the way, and hopefully we'll see closer to what we saw in spring training from Clay Holmes. Now, let's move on to Game 2. Tyler McGill took the mound for the Mets. He went up against the Astros' Hunter Brown. Now, the Mets took their first lead of the season in the top of the second after Brandon Nimmo lit off with a sharp line drive to left field. He was dead to rights on a pickoff play. Fortunately for the Astros, fortunately for the Mets, Brendan Rodgers dropped the ball. Nimmo was safe at second. The Mets made the Astros pay immediately with a double to left field off the bat of Mark Vientos. Jesse Winker followed Vientos with a seeing eye ground ball up the middle. The inning could have been worse for the Astros. However, Tyrone Taylor hit into a double play right after that, kind of killed the rally that we had going on. But the Mets had the lead, 2-0. In the third inning, the Mets added another run with Juan Soto's first home run of the regular season with New York Mets. Now, this was a laser to right center field, second deck, no doubt about it as soon as he hit it. After the game, Juan Soto said it's good to get it out of the way, the first home run, and there's many more to come. The Astros did get back one in the 4th inning after back-to-back singles by Jose Altuve and Isaac Paredes. Yordan Alvarez hit a sac fly to score a run. However, Tyler McGill bared down and struck out the next 2 batters in Christian Walker and Yainer Diaz to limit the damage. So McGill had a good start. He pitched into the 6th inning. He struck out Jake Myers to start the 6th inning. However, the ball got away from the catcher. It was ruled a wild pitch. Jose Altuve followed with a ground ball to the left side. Now we have runners on first and second and no outs. So the Mets went to the bullpen. And who came on to relieve Tyler McGill but Reed Garrett? So Reed Garrett came in, struck out Isaac Paredes to get the first out. Big out. The ever-dangerous Yordan Alvarez walked on a 3-2 pitch. So that brought up Christian Walker to the bases with the bases loaded with 1 out. Garrett made quick work of him, striking him out a nasty sweeper down and away. He then got Yainer Diaz to fly out to right center, and that ended the inning. From here on out, the Mets bullpen was lights out. A.J. Minter, Ryan Stanek, following with an inning apiece to preserve the lead, and, handed the ball off to Edwin Diaz, who slammed the door for his first save and the Mets' first win of the year. So the Mets won Game 2, 3-1. Tyler McGill picked up the first win of the year. He pitched into the 6th. He officially went 5 innings. He allowed 1 run, 3 hits on 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. Similar to what I mentioned with Holmes, limiting the walks is going to be huge for Tyler McGill, and he did that with only 1 this game. If he can continue to do that, we're going to have a big season from McGill, and he's going to be the next breakout pitcher, similar to what David Peterson was last year. So, big key for him, limit the walks, attack the zone. He has the stuff. He just gets himself into trouble a lot of the times. So hopefully, he's improved on that, and this will be a sign of things to come. And hopefully he'll build on this his next start. The third game, the rubber game, Saturday evening, we had Griffin Canning making his Mets debut, going up against Spencer Arrighetti. The Mets didn't really do much in this game. There's not much to talk about, unfortunately. They lost the game and the series 2-1. They managed 1 hit, which was their second batter of the game, Juan Soto with a double. They got their lone run in the sixth after Jose Siri's walk. He stole second base, and Francisco Lindor flew out, which advanced Siri to third base, brought up Juan Soto. Now Juan Soto hit a comebacker to the pitcher. Arrighetti looked at Siri's to freeze him, turned away immediately, and kind of lobbed the ball to first base. As soon as he turned away, Jose Siri took off, and he scored his slide just ahead of the tag from the catcher. Arrighetti messed up here. He froze him, but he kind of didn't look him back. So, as soon as he turned his back, Siri just took off, and this is the kind of player that Siri is. He's very electric on the base paths. Thankfully, he was able to steal a run. Now, if you were like me, I was thinking at this point, wow, we might actually steal a game that we don't deserve to win. Unfortunately, the Astros came right back in the bottom of the sixth inning, and they scored another run to, steal, to deflate that balloon, whatever you want to say. They wanted to make sure the Mets didn't have that momentum swing back in their way, and they got a lead. Unfortunately, we had 2 outs, and Yordan Alvarez hit a double and drove in a run to give the Astros the lead, and that was pretty much it. Some bright spots for this game for me. Griffin Canning went 5 2/3. He didn't pitch poorly. He gave us some length. Hopefully, he's able to build on this start. The theme for all the pitchers is build on this start. Let's continue improving. Our pitching wasn't horrible. I think our pitching is actually going to be one of our strengths, even though our starting rotation wasn't something that a lot of people were too confident on going into the season. Jose Siri showed us what kind of explosive player that he can be on the bases. He essentially stole that run, stole second, after the walk, pretty much stole home after the pitcher didn't check him and make him go back. And Max Kranick came in for Jose Budo, who got McGill out of that jam in the 6th inning and pitched an inning and 2/3 before getting to his own jam. And then Max Kranick came in and got 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning, bailing Budo out. It was good to see Max Kranick come in and, get his feet wet immediately, and he was fantastic in spring training. There was some thought of him maybe going to the minors. I know a lot of fans were really, beating the drum for him to make the Major League roster. Thankfully, he did, and he paid dividends immediately in his first appearance. So, Met fans, I know it's early. Generally, the pitchers are ahead of the hitters at this point. I'm not overly concerned that we're not, scoring a ton of runs right now. It's only 3 games. We have 159 more to go. Come off that ledge. Come off the ledge. Trust me, we're going to be okay. So, we lost the first series to the Houston Astros, 2-1. Tonight, we play the Florida Marlins. We start a 4-game set against them. I'm sorry, we started a 3-game set against them. My apologies. So we have David Peterson making his first start of the year, going up against Cal Quantrill tonight. That's a righty, so we should see Beatty in the lineup again, and we should see Jesse Winker. Kodai Senga gets his first start tomorrow against Sandy Alcantara. Keep an eye on Alcantara. He's coming back after, being pretty much out of commission for 2 years. He's the Marlins ace. Definitely a player I wanted on the Mets at several points in time. He's likely to be traded before the deadline this year. So the Mets have had success against Alcantara in the past, so hopefully this continues. Then we have Clay Holmes in the 3rd game, pitching against Connor Gillespie. So the Marlins are coming into this series 3-1. They played the Pirates 4 games, and they beat them. So the Mets are looking to right the ship, and the Marlins are looking to continue on the roll that they started. So I can't wait for tonight's game. How do you guys feel? Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any things you would like me to go over, discuss. Let me know what player right now do you feel is going to be that breakout candidate for the Mets, whether offensively or a pitcher. For me, I still feel Brett Beatty is going to have that year. And on the pitching side, I think it's going to be Tyler McGill. So, be back to talk about Game 1 against the Marlins tomorrow. Let's go Mets.